What's the countdown?
Dave! Hi!
Hello.
I have reached you through the interdimensional portal, it seems.
You have the interdimensional interwebs portal.
Fantastic. How's it going? It's so nice to see you.
It's really good to see you too, man. Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. What is it? It's a bright morning here in New Zealand after quite a bit of rain over here. Sorry, I'm being very English and talking about the weather, but I don't know.
Can
It's
you
just
see
nice to
clearly
wake
now?
up and it's sunny. I can. Now the rain has gone.
Fantastic. That's so good to hear. And yeah, we talked last 2 weeks ago, and I've missed you. It's really nice to talk again. And
You've
I've
missed me.
been
I've
on
iMessaged you
travels.
quite a few times over that time, Daniel.
Yes, we do exchange some banter. We actually talk to each other outside of the show, which is hard to believe sometimes,
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
talk so much already. But yeah, it's just nice. What is this show actually? This show is called Waiting for Review, and it's a show about the majestic indie developer lifestyle. Join your scintillating hosts to hear about a tiny slice of their thrilling lives. I am Daniel Porter Bridges, and I'm an expert porter. And I'm here with Dave, who is suffering from doom and has just returned from the beach. Join us while waiting for review.
Suffering from Doom. You know what I've been playing on Steam, right?
No, you're suffering from Dooms, which is a reference to Death Stranding, which is still the game that I've still haven't finished, but still am plugging along on. The first
Yeah.
one, that is. There's a second one came out, but I'm still in the first one, and it is fun. We have sections now,
Mm-hmm.
and our first section is actually a good thing of the week.
Good thing
So,
of the
Dave,
week.
what is your good thing? Because the world is kind of shitty right now, so let's look at some good things.
My good thing. I'm going to mention the gaming PC again, Daniel. I'm sorry. It's like I've been 20 years without playing PC games regularly, so or something like
Have you
that.
been playing games on the gaming PC?
I've had the Doom, so I've been playing Doom, but that's not the good thing. The really good thing is I played Peak for the first time with friends, and Peak is a wonderful game where it's 3D, first person, you fairly cartoony, but you are climbing a mountain and there's various hurdles, challenges. You've got to kind of, you're like a free climber of sorts. You've got to shimmy around rock surfaces and things. And it's a game that you play with friends. So typically you can play it on your own, but it's a lot more fun with a couple of other people at least. And that was awesome. I was playing a
Awesome.
couple of friends in Australia, and so I'm in New Zealand, and they're not actually that close as countries. I mean, it's like the nearest big country, but there's nearly 4,000 k of ocean. So I kind of reflected afterwards, like I had a really good game, and I had a whole moment of like, it's just really nice to be able to play a game with people kind of reasonably far away in some ways. Latency wasn't bad. There's nothing like that. Like the way it all works, it just sort of works. And again, I'm out of the gaming loop, so I don't know what's normal for people these days. But I had a whole moment of just like, 12-year-old me, many years back in the late 90s. No, early 90s for 12-year-old me, thank you. Anyway, that young Dave would have just been like, you did what? That's awesome. So yeah, anyway, I'm finally catching up with the 21st century, and it was nice.
It is awesome though. Yeah, like just like how stuff works. So you haven't gamed at all in the last 10 years or so, or just like
In
very rarely?
since my kids were very little, no, not really. Like I think
Damn.
what I played Portal 2, and that's probably the last game I bought on Steam that was something I played regularly until I'd actually completed it, and that I bought brand new when it came out. So whenever that game came out, sort of marks my last actual proper PC gaming type moment.
Been a few years. Huh. Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Good to have you back. Like I think like our listeners should totally like bombard you with suggestions like of games that have come out after Portal 2 that are playable on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just pick them up for a like $1 or $2 because they're like heavily discounted by now.
That's the beauty of it. Like I kind of went a little crazy over the Steam Christmas sales because it was like, huh, oh, I've heard of that. That looks kind of good. Yeah, that's not too much money. It's a few bucks. Cool. So I've got a little tiny little backlog of things, but mainly my backlog after well, not even after peak because peak's just something I'll play regularly. My backlog right now is like all of the Dooms, and of course the original Dooms I've played to death. But I bought like a expansion anthology pack that's got all of the original Dooms and all of their expansions, and then it's got the modern Dooms that started in 2016 as well. So it's got that one, and then the sequel to that. It was, of course, omitting the very latest Doom game because these things are usually a bit of a trying to get you interested again in that, right? So, but I shall,
But you
I
don't
shall,
care like too much, right?
no,
Because there's like so many Dooms, all of the Dooms basically.
exactly. So I definitely have the Dooms, Daniel. You were right.
I got a sticker or at Congress that says "This runs Doom," but in German, and
Awesome.
I still haven't decided where to put it.
I kind of want that on a t-shirt.
That's also a good application of that, I think. Yeah, would be a good T-shirt
Mm.
for you. Have I told you about the ultrasound machine that I saw that ran Doom
At
at
the
the
Chaos
Congress?
Computer Club. Yeah.
I did.
You might have done, but remind me again, because
I might have even sent you a picture. Like at some point, I'm walking around the fair grounds. I don't know, like the exhibition halls, and like there's a like an ultrasound machine, like for like medical examinations, and it just has like Doom on its screen, like where usually you would see like the ultrasounds. And I'm like, okay, is this like just a screenshot or something? And so you go up, and the thing has a joystick, and it actually is Doom.
that's crazy. uh, I'm pretty sure you sent me a photograph of it at the time. I don't think I realized it was an ultrasound machine though. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that might have been it.
that's quite funny.
So yeah, awesome. Gaming Dave is back.
A little bit. I'm essentially every time I've got a big load of like stuff that I'm having Claude chew through or whatever, I've got that on one monitor and then I've got Doom on the other monitor. So yeah, I'll play for a bit and then I'll go back to what's on the other screen and switch between the two. It's nice
How
though,
is
having
the
fun.
Have you tried like the different Dooms already, or are you playing them sequentially?
No, I've gone straight into the modern Dooms because I've played the old ones to death way back when.
Yeah, but like, even the modern ones, like there's like 3 or 4 of them, right? So like,
I've skipped over Doom 3 from the early 2000s. I'll
uh-huh.
come back to that, but I've gone straight in on the 2016 one.
Nice. And does it resemble at all the original Doom? And not as in like thematically, of course. Ah, it's the demons. You gotta shoot
Yeah,
them, but
yeah.
like play wise, like does it have any like shared DNA?
I don't know. I started off with a bit of a cynical kind of, it's not really Doom, right? It's sort of very much more this sort of modern game, like taking its name. And then the more that I've played in, got into the game, the more I've had these moments where I've been a bit like, okay, yeah, it does still have a bit of that vibe. So yeah, there's a
Nice.
bit of its DNA in there, mainly when you get overrun by lots of enemies, right? And that was, for me at least, one of the biggest thing about the original game is that it could have lots of monsters on screen, and I found that the one in the early 2000s didn't really replicate that because it was more like you would just have one enemy at a time or
Hmm.
maybe a couple. It sort of felt a bit limited. So yeah, I mean, we could go way into this, but like the way I think about it is like the Doom 3 in the early 2000s is more like Alien, and then Doom should feel more like Aliens if you think about the two
That's
films.
a good comparison. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Anyway,
All right.
before I get into the Doom any further, tell me about your nice thing.
Right. So my good thing this week is my new humidifier, which is the most adult thing I've said in a while, I think. So as you know, I live in a very new house. Like it was built in 2021, and it has all these like outlets and like air filtration systems and everything so that like moisture gets out and fresh air comes in, which is really awesome most of the time. But during very cold winters, turns out that the air that's coming in from the outside doesn't have any moisture in it because it's so cold and can't hold moisture,
Hmm.
right? And then you warm it up, and the humidity in the room is just like drops below 30%. And I've been kind of suffering from that, like always with an itchy nose and sore throat, but not like in a way where you feel like sick. It's just like, ugh. And so I've been
Mm.
not sleeping too much or too well and stuff like that. And finally, I was like, okay, I'm going to research and then buy a humidifier machine. I bought one from a company. It's like right behind me. Like currently, it is holding the humidity at 51%, which is perfect.
Yes.
It is from a company called Boira, and it is nice. It costs about $100. It has like all kinds of like features. It senses the humidity and then like increases or decreases its output, stuff like that, and even stops when it's empty or when the humidity has been reached. And it's making the just like I'm a little plant, like I need my light, which is in
Yep.
front of me, and I need the correct humidity and warmth, and then just give me some seeds, I guess.
You are the seed, Daniel. It's going to help you grow.
Right. And so yeah, that's my good thing. It just makes my life noticeably better, which I like.
That's really cool. Like, I mean, I know that's a very mature, grown-up adult thing to mention, but
I gotta offset all the immature, childish things that I do, so that sometimes I can do a grown up thing. All right. How about grown up things like our next section, which is chores and homework? I think my chore was to post a video about going to the gym, or going not to the gym, to the stand up, to the stationary bike. That's the word I was looking for. And posting
yeah,
a video from the stationary bike mentioning that this year is Alp traversal year. And I did that.
it's really cool.
So I
I
think
am I
I
am
need a new
checking the
chore.
chores, by the way, just making sure that that was definitely your chore from the last one.
I'm not 100% sure. Like, do we have notes on that?
We do.
Maybe we should like program a chore management system.
A chore management system. I might just put it in GitHub or something. Yeah, just having a quick look down. It doesn't. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter. Of course, it matters, Daniel. They're the chores. But in any
Oh, but it does
case,
say I found it in our show notes. It says homework. Daniel dash more TikToking, but needs to be doing more gym/exercise.
there we go. And you've been TikToking as well, right? I know that's
Well,
been,
not enough. Not enough. Definitely not enough. But
yeah. It's coming
it
back to me now. I
with the
suggested that you could TikTok from the gym, like actually do a
with the
Daniel's
takeover
thing.
with the takeover, like from Oracle. Like I
Hmm.
also I feel kind of iffy about TikTok now, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah. So, okay. Do we want to go
Yes.
through my chores or do we want to set your next chore?
Let's set my next chore.
Go for it. What is your next chore then, Daniel?
Oh, I thought you would decide. I don't know.
Oh, I was going to decide, wasn't I? Yeah, well, I'm trying to think. Like,
If you need more time
what's
to think, we can
something?
also talk about yours and then afterwards decide.
Well, what's something you've been avoiding that you know in your heart of hearts you should stop avoiding?
I know exactly what it is, but I don't want to say because then you're gonna make me do it. I
You know what I'm
really
like. I'm going
need
to
to
find
call.
out.
I really need to call my health insurance to force them to assign me a proper physician here in this city, because like for various things I still need to go to Augsburg to my physician there.
Hmm.
And apparently like going through the health insurance is a better way of like getting one assigned, which I've tried myself like without going that way because it involves telephoning a lot.
Hmm.
So I guess I really need to do that.
Okay. Well, I've noted it down. I will pick on you remorselessly if you haven't done it in 2 weeks' time, just to let you know.
Ah,
So, yes, that's another very mature thing on this show. I feel like we are very much becoming the mature gentleman show. But absolutely, I need to grow my mustache out so I can twiddle it.
Oh, I didn't tell you this at the beginning, but I love how your beard looks today, by the way. Our listeners can't
Thank
see
you.
that, but it is just the right length. It is very like clean, but also like very face defining. It just looks good.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, that's been a bit of a thing. The hair's not coming back on top, so maybe I need to grow the beard just to counteract it.
Nice.
Again, middle-aged podcaster show. Here we are.
Welcome to the White Middle-Aged Men podcast.
No.
We have opinions and microphones.
Yes, yes. Well, my hot take on this, Daniel. No, let's get back to our show. We have a show format. Let's not go there. But
You're just like stalling because you don't want to talk about your chores.
that's true. You've caught me.
Do tell.
Do tell. My chores. I feel like I've done them, which is always a bad sign because it might mean that I haven't.
Right. So you had like, I think 3 videos left that you needed to post.
Yes, and I've posted 1, maybe 2. So, and I've got 2 days left because we're recording on the 28th of Jan. That's going to date how far out we are. So,
The chores are not from recording to recording. I thought they were from recording to recording.
I thought we'd set a month. I thought we'd set the first month
Oh,
of this
did
year
we?
for
Yeah, we really need to. Okay,
this
so my additional chore is
no,
like
hang
writing
on.
these down properly.
Yeah, no, I've only posted the 1 video in the last 2 weeks, Daniel. So I think I've missed that chore, really, if we're honest. I can claim another couple of days in the month, but am I really going to uphold it? So I think I've failed.
That is a bummer, and I will wag my finger at you accusingly
all the
and
stalling
give you an
in the
extension
world.
of a few days so that you can do it.
Okay, but I feel like I'm going to need a new chore. So I want to stick to this one, of course, but that still gives me a bit of time before the next show with them when we record. So let's add another chore.
Let's add
well.
another chore. Fine. I have like 2 options. Either
Mm-hmm.
you like tell me a thing that you've been avoiding that you really kind of need to do, or I have something in mind as well. If you can choose which one you want. But you have to choose now before knowing.
Go for the one that you've got in mind.
Fantastic. Okay. Until our next recording, go on at least 2 walks.
Wow. Okay. Now, this is I can agree to that. That's not a bad shout. So
that also goes for our listeners, by the way. If you're listening to this right now, you have already also committed to this exact same chore. So your chore until you listen to the next episode is go on at least 2 walks. Your mental health and the air in your lungs will thank you.
100%.
And you can listen to podcasts while you walk.
Yes, and if walking is hard, find your nearest equivalent thing that is good for you in that sense. And to everybody, if you go do the chore, send us a photograph. Tag us on the Mastodons or wherever. Go for it.
Totally.
Because it's always nice. And you may well be on a walk listening to this show. So you've got the moment right now to just pause the podcast, take a photograph, and our socials are in the show notes. So go for it.
Awesome. Yeah, very much so. Like, we are very proud of you. And so, yeah, we love hearing from you. Fantastic.
I just want to hear that Daniel's proud of me. I failed my chore so far. Thank you.
You tried your best. That's the most important thing.
I tried. Simpsons cake gif.
And I mean, like, I gotta give you like a tiny push sometimes, but it has to be fun too. All right. Next up in our list of sections that I'm relentlessly pushing us through is other topics, which is the wildcard section. Before we go talk about our work, do you have anything for this? Otherwise, I do.
I know you do, because I suggested it earlier before we started recording. So if it's what I can see in the notes, then
it is almost what's in the note. I'm actually going to talk about my entire trip to Augsburg last week, because like that was like totally filled with stuff. I went to Augsburg last week, and I had like various things on my list that all came together. One of the things that kind of like was the inciting into the incident was just like I really wanted to see Lisa again, and also we
Hmm.
needed to discuss various like company things, and so it was really nice just like to meet her. She also gave me, that's like also awesome. She gave me like a whole bag, like a 1 kilogram bag full of like this weird mixture of like ground up grains and other like proteins that you can use, like you can mix it with oil and water to make like ground meat that is plant-based, and that
What?
is actually what I had for dinner earlier, and it's like super tasty, so that is kind of awesome.
Well, that's cool. But tell
And
me
then
more. Tell me more about your trip.
then I also bought a tablet device. So the thing is, I'm working, and I'm going to tell you more about this later, but like I'm working a lot on our servers in the background and stuff like that. And then like I would really like to check on things every now and then, or even tweak things, change things, or fix bugs or problems. But it's super annoying to do that on a phone, almost impossible. And it's also super annoying to always have my computer with me, because like that thing is heavy. It is like pretty slim, but it's still like 2.5 kilos or something, and also kind of large. And so I bought a tablet,
Ta-da!
which is a mini. And it's awesome because this is the perfect form factor for me. Because like I've been like, I really wanted, like I always like look at my phone and like, "Oh, could this be bigger? Could this phone,
Hmm.
which is already the max, be bigger?" And of course, there's foldables on the horizon or whatever. But I played around with it, and like in the Apple Store and whatever. And I talked to Lisa, and Lisa was like, "Just get it. Like if it's helpful to you." And
Yeah.
so I went to the Apple Store and bought a mini, and it's nice. It is exceedingly nice too, because like it fits exactly all the user interfaces that I need for server administration and like infrastructure stuff. Like I think the resolution is just chosen in just a way that like it's like the bare minimum that websites kind of design around. And also it has like I have like secure shellfish on this thing, so that I can actually like do SSH stuff, which works surprisingly well. And I also configured the Claude app, that it can actually like do small like changes on the code base in my name, which I've tried it out a little bit. I would never I would never just like commit to main from that. But you can
Hmm.
tell it like, hey, look, like go to this GitHub repo, do these changes, and make a PR, and it will just do that in the background. It will spin up some vaguely abstracted VM for it. It will even run outside of the like while we close the app, and it's actually really fun. And also like just like
Right.
the I do a lot of
I
like
didn't know it did
emailing
that.
and stuff like that. Yeah, I didn't either. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this was
That's
very very fun and very like a very filled trip.
that's really cool. Like, no, you're just saying about your whole trip, but I'm going to zero in on that Claude thing. Yeah. So it's spinning up some sort of persistent VM in their cloud service, assumedly, but is able to then go and, uh, like say, work on stuff and then put up a PR for you asynchronously. That's not something I've really played with Claude. So, yeah, I had no idea
Yes.
they got that.
No, yeah,
You
it is fun. Like it's kind of hard to review the things that it's coded, because just because like the screen is bigger than a phone, but it's like still like a tiny screen, right? So it's hard to really get an overview over everything. So I think I think like reviewing these things is definitely a desktop thing, but it is pretty neat. Like I told it to work on a Python repository with that had like various like requirements and stuff. So it would actually like so it cloned the repository, installed the requirements inside its machine, and then also ran the tests and stuff like that before even creating the PR. So yeah, that was surprisingly good.
nice. If I was somebody who traveled very often, Daniel, that would be very interesting to me. I mean, I'm pretty much a homebody these days, but no, the way I would think about using that is like less so to have it do all of the work for you, as it were, and then you've got a review or whatever, but more in a case of, I know when I'm traveling, I get ideas for things
Mm-hmm.
as I'm on a train or whatever, and being able to just sort of kind of ping the idea off to it. But then when I get back, there's a branch and maybe a PR, but at least I can kind of go back to that sort of frame of reference and that thought with a little bit of work done. Yeah, that sounds quite cool to me, actually.
Yeah. And I'm reasonably sure you can do this on your phone too. It's just like I discovered it on the pad. Yeah, no. And also, like, what I kind of want to use this for is like every now and then I discover, oh, damn, I really need to change this entry and this configuration file somewhere.
Hmm.
And just for that, like I don't have to find the exact file and like navigate the fiddly like touchscreen keyboard. Just like tell the thing, like change the thing to the other thing. I think that
Yeah,
could also work.
yeah, and it will just go and grep things and get back to you.
Grep.
Yeah.
Yes, right. I also, so this is a sad topic, but it's also actually relevant to our listeners. I visited a friend's grave. Back in November, a friend of mine, Uli, who is known among the Fediverse and like Twitter before it was uncool, I was Uli Witness. And yeah, I heard of his death a few weeks ago, and I haven't been able to come to his internment, but
Mm.
I decided that if next time I'm going to Augsburg, I'm gonna visit. So I put down some flowers, and it was really nice to say goodbye in that way. So yeah,
Yeah, that's it's good that you're able to do that, Daniel. And of course, yeah, shout out and remembrance of him as well. So
yes.
yeah.
One thing, like he had a very multifaceted personality, but one thing he was really into was HyperCard,
Mhm.
the database or the data management software on, I want to say Apple II. I don't even know,
It was on lots of different versions. I
but
had
like
it on,
old Macs before the current iteration of macOS.
yeah.
And he always had this idea, like he wanted to build a replacement. He wanted to build a modern version of HyperCard. And so ever since, like ever since last week, I've been thinking, like, can I put something HyperCardy into telemetry? I haven't had an awesome idea yet. I am also not deep enough. Like I don't have any clue what exactly HyperCard does, apart from the very abstract screenshots that you see with the cards. So
Hmm.
probably not, but like if inspiration ever strikes, like I could see myself doing something like that.
That'd be interesting to see. I reckon there'll be a couple of revival projects out there somewhere that maybe you didn't
Yeah.
you wouldn't have to do all the extreme legwork that would be. But I remember Hypercard well. Like I made my first game in Hypercard.
You can make
Like
games
I
with
got,
that? That's awesome.
I did. You could place buttons, and I figured out because it had the a scripting language underneath it, HyperTalk.
Hmm.
And I realized that you could set on on a slide, a screen as it were, you could set loop to then read key presses, and then I could name the buttons in the screen as objects, and I could move them if I pressed the arrow keys.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I had something that you could set the icons as well. That
Hmm.
was the thing. So my players were my little player in this 2D sort of scroller thing was a an icon, and then as it moved, I could animate bits of it. Yeah, but because it wasn't a side scroller, because I was limited to the space of the slide, I hadn't really figured out what else I would do. But every level was a different slide in this hypercard deck.
That's how it started with you. So yeah, I had a lovely trip and I brought home like some closure and the sack of protein and also the tiny pad,
Awesome. That
which
was
even has a sticker of a unicorn on it, which is very
hold it
cute.
up to the camera. Can't just say that and not hold it up. Yeah, that's a
Yeah, I
great
decided to
unicorn.
sticker this thing. Like I usually don't sticker my hardware too much, but it has not only the telemetry deck logo on it, it also has a very cute unicorn with a rainbow horn.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a sticker that says, like, it has a yellow sticker that says INOP, INOP,
Mm-hmm.
which is the exact sticker that like ground control or like aircraft mechanics will put on like parts of aircraft and especially the cockpit that are inoperable, that are kind of broken. So there's like stuff that can be broken where the plane is still allowed to fly, and they will put that sticker on it to tell the pilots, don't use that instrument because it's broken.
Okay. Okay. That's quite fun. Yeah. I feel like I need an inop sticker for my iPad now. Although it's not inoperable. So that's the other thing. It's your lovely iPad, but like you're saying it's inoperable, Daniel?
Well, no, it's just it's I don't know. Like to me, it's funny because it's like not true, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And just to keep
I
people
brought
guessing.
I got another thing that I brought. Look at this.
Okay, Daniel is holding up a Sondrine telemetry deck icon mascot. It looks like a piece of laser cut plexiglass. Is that about right, Daniel? Like
That is
it's
correct. Yes. So my buddy Flo has access. Like he runs, or like he is part of a collective that runs a makerspace, which is called the Habitat, and they have a laser cutter, and he laser cut the thing. Like it's awesome. Like there's even
it's
a
really
video
cute.
of where he and Lisa are cutting the things. Like he posted it on TikTok, and now that I mentioned this, I will have to look it up and put it into the show notes.
No
So yeah,
worries.
I had a fun trip.
Well,
What's your review, if any?
I don't have an other thing, so maybe we could talk about I guess my only thing.
Oh, you have an only thing?
Well, it's actually the regular
Can
flow
you
of the
kind of
show, Daniel.
subscribe thing?
Check out my socials. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. The next section, coincidentally, is called How is Lightbeam Doing? Over to you, Dave.
Ooh, how is Lightbeam or Lightbeam apps? Yes. It's doing. It's going. Yeah, I'm thinking about how the last 2 weeks have gone, and I'm pretty sure like when we last spoke, I was like, yeah, I'm nearly there. I'm getting into the zone. I'm going to be building my new app, and that's actually gone okay. I've not actually broken ground on the new app yet, which is a bit frustrating, actually. We'll talk about that in a second. But one thing I have been doing is sketching things out. Spent a bit of time. So part of my process when I'm designing a new app is that I will sit down with a pad and pen, turn my phone off pretty much, and just think about what I want this thing to do. And I made a whole load of notes about what I wanted it to do, not do, that sort of thing. And then straight off the back of that, I'll then sketch out what I think the UI could look like. And it's never how the app actually looks. That's the other thing. Like this, it's never like, because you sort of, I don't know about you, but in these moments, I kind of get this like feeling like I'm supposed to just pull the app idea straight out of the ether in my head, sketch it out, and it just looks perfect, right? You know?
That's how it's supposed to be. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
All artists, what they do is like they just like start and immediately produce the end results.
exactly. And I've kind of gotten over that fallacy these days. Like I sketched one design, then I sketched another, and I was like, okay, what happens if it's in landscape? Oh, right, okay, maybe like that. And these doodles, if you like, will never represent the final app. And in a lot of ways, I shouldn't even build it. It's very much a case of just getting some of the ideas going and seeing what's what. So I sketched a load of those out. Kind of stopped there, if I'm honest, in a sense of like my next step is I really want to pull stuff into a design tool, and then I will start moving things around. Right, that's where it starts to become okay. Let's take my favorite sketch, try and mock it up in something, and then see what that actually looks like. Export the image out, put it on my iPad or iPhone or whatever, and see what it feels like to look at. So I'm in that sort of like beginning bits of that.
Mm.
Got a bit gridlocked on what design tool, because yeah, there's Figma, but like I don't necessarily want to put all of my designs into their cloud service these days. Like I'm like, not really for me. Thought about using Sketch again. It's been a few years since I've used Sketch. And I believe I can use that and just save locally, so I'll be quite happy with that. Although I prefer something a bit more, honestly, I prefer something in the open source end of things that its file format is still likely to open nicely whenever I go back to it. Like I want the blender of app UX design software.
Mm-hmm.
And my searches kind of came up short. So if you know of anything like that, then I'd love to hear about it.
I mean, you might consider Affinity. It's not exactly what you want, but especially Affinity Designer is kind of like Adobe Illustrator, right? But it's like
It
way
is, and
cheaper
they're
and
all
actually
free now
kind of good.
because
Oh
yeah,
yeah, they're free even.
they got acquired by Canva, and the apps have been free, I think, for a while. Again, like I'm predicting a future, Daniel, a potential future where maybe I do more work on Linux. I'm not quite there yet. Like
Mm-hmm.
that sort of rides on me actually doing more development on that side. Yeah, so I'm kind of like I want to be able to access my stuff wherever I am. So I don't know what the solution is yet to that, and it's certainly not just code it because that's not going to happen. So yeah, if anybody knows of the blender of the Figma equivalents, I'd love to hear about it. I mean,
Just do it in Blender.
I could. Yeah, you could. There's something to be said for that when things get a bit more like defined on this app, because one of the things that I wanted to do was see if I could bring a bit of skeuomorphism back into what it looks like. And because it's going to have like, sliders and things because it's a audio-visual type app, then I was thinking about one of the ways that people do those sort of UIs for virtual synths and instruments is they will take a 3D model of a slider and then capture the image of it, camera from above looking down on it, and that's your thumbnail. Because I can get lighting around it and things like that as well. So if you want the sliders lit from a certain angle, you can do that in the 3D software, get it how you want it, and then off you go. So I've thought of that, but doing the whole UX in Blender?
Like that would be very much doing it in hard mode, and you're doing it in hard mode already.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
think
maybe don't.
if I'm honest, I'm probably going to end up installing Sketch and making sure everything's saved as SVGs so I can get back to it, whatever I'm on in that way, or something like that. But anyway, yeah, so design stuff, bit of wireframing, haven't really got the design out yet. There's a whole load of other bits I want to do around this app to sort of really like think about my MVP properly. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason I want to do all of this work is because I really want this thing to actually work. And so if I kind of just go freeform across it all, I'll probably still be talking about it in a year's time. So I want to be a bit more deliberate about what it is I'm building here. But aside from that, what else is new in Lightbeam is, yeah, I'm doing things on hard mode with the renderer. So you know where I'm at with stuff, right? I've got my GUI is working in terms of like I've got a Swift UI like kind of DSL. I've got animations and other bits going on, but then I was trying to get more performance out of how it was working because it was rendering everything all at once, and there was a lot of issues with that as I started getting into doing things like lists and things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I've spent probably 3.5 weeks trying to get that to all come together. I just had a whole moment of like that I'm essentially now trying to recreate Swift UI's internals. And I started off from a point where I really didn't want to do that. That's the whole point of looking at doing an immediate mode rendering system, was that I didn't want something that was going to be what's called a retained mode system where, you have essentially a cache of everything and you do all of this diffing to kind of trigger different bits of updates in the view layer. And that can get really complicated. And somehow I've ended up finding myself in the middle of that complication that I deliberately started out not to get into, because I was trying to attack other issues and problems. And this seemed like it seemed so easy, Daniel, to begin with. Um, Seemed like it
It
was all
almost
just going to
feels
come
like
together.
you're just like speed running the history of like UI frameworks on all platforms.
A little bit, a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to hold my hand up and say I'm using Claude a lot for some of this exploration and some of this development, tending to set my parameters of where I want to go and then have it do a lot of the heavy lifting, pulling stuff
Mhm.
together. And so, yeah, I spent a good evening laying out my migration plan the other night. And bit by bit, I'm working through that with Claude doing all of the big lifting. But you say about speed running through the entire history of sort of UI design, like the good bit about the time I've now spent is I've been able to go back to where things go to where things are, then take a view of where I want to get it to kind of reduce the complexity and sort of pare things back to being manageable. And the good thing is that I've now got the experience of the last few weeks to be able to go, not like that, not like that. I definitely want this, and start, really thinking about what it is I actually want. So that's not a place I was at maybe a month ago. I was kind of more like, I just want the performance to work. I don't really
Mhm.
care how now. Sod it, let's make it like this. So, but yeah, there's a tipping point here, because otherwise I'm just going to keep talking about this thing I'm perpetually building and not actually getting anywhere with. And I don't want you to roast me and call me out again, Daniel. So, not that you would ever. Maybe.
Just in a loving and friendly way.
Yeah, yeah. So, put it this way, if this is a bust in another 2 or 3 weeks' time, then I need to reverse gear a little bit and think about other ways of attacking what I'm trying to achieve. And I have ideas for them, but I kind of don't want to talk about them until I've realized I need to pull the pin on this route. So we'll save that one for if and when.
All right. Fair.
Yeah. But, dude, any questions, any roasts,
Any
any
questions?
feedback for me?
No roasts, feedback. It's exciting, I feel like. But on this at the same time, how do you feel about this? Like it sounds like you're a bit disappointed because you kind of feel like you're this close to starting to use the framework for actually building something, and then like something else is happening and you're like perpetually this close and never kind of reach it. And
I was
this must
getting
be
there.
frustrating.
Well, that's why I've decided to sort of halt the direction it was going in and then pare things back, right? Because I was making reasonably consistent progress with it, and then I've sort of hit this kind of like loop and wall as the complexity has stood up a bit more. And it was fun, and then it wasn't being fun anymore. Like it's like, okay, I've got my bug list, I'm trying to go through, I'm taking a look at the code, I'm having Claude get into it. All right, maybe I do a bit, then maybe I'll leave it grinding away on that for an evening while I do something else. And I was just getting bored. It's like, this is not fun
Yeah,
anymore.
no, this is
Yeah.
not like for the fun stuff.
No, no. And I'm not trying to be Apple, Swift UI, or Jetpack Compose
Also,
with
like
this.
if you
Like,
let
that's
Claude code the entire thing, then you can just like use a third party thing anyway.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy for Claude to do the initial refactor and then I go through, right? Like, that's fine. We've got this big heap of stuff, and I know where I want things to move to. But yeah, no, I'm feeling okay about it actually, because what the way I've approached this is that I have, and this is, I guess, technically relevant. I've built it in such a way where I've decoupled things
Hmm.
right from the start. So I have my DSL where the view definitions are and the Swift UI like syntax is and everything for building apps with. It's functionally, it's in a separate folder essentially to the core renderer. And I've
Hmm.
it works in such a way that the renderer consumes a root view with, your initial app starting point essentially, and then renders from there. So in terms of building a new renderer, I've been able to sort of go, right, we're going to freeze the old one, and I'm actually going to deliberately change the prefix of all of its classes and everything that's inside of it. So it's clearly marked out as being something else. And the new renderer is going to be built separately, like a separate folder again. But both will consume the same app layer. And in terms of what I'm doing, it means that I can actually switch between the two once this gets going. So I've not locked myself out completely. If I get to a stage with designing Photon where I want to start laying stuff out in anger, I can still do that and not really care about. I can use the old renderer essentially until the new thing is actually working.
And what exactly is the stumbling block with the new thing? Like you said something
Uh,
about immediate mode and the other mode where like it does
Stumbling
like
block
definite
between,
caching, but like, so
yeah,
what is the thing that made you decide like, okay, I need to change a lot of how this works?
the sheer level of complexity and overhead that I'm going to end up supporting with something that is essentially, like I say, trying to rebuild Swift UI. At that point,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. I may as well just be using Swift UI on iOS, and I may as well just be using Compose or something on Android, because actually the overhead of supporting two platforms is going to be less than the complexity of building my own thing. So it's the weight of the complexity, and that's absolutely fine. Like I thought there might be a way of kind of having the minimum dose, if you like, to get what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted, but no, I wasn't happy in the end because there were so many different sort of corner cases and things to figure out. So that's it. And I think, it's a message for indie devs really, is like, the more you can do to reduce your surface area of complexity, the better. And I've wanted to go here because it's fun. My business isn't riding on this, although I'd love it to be in the future. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
this is very much almost in the hobbyist end of the scale of life, right? I've got a day job. Nothing pivotal is relying on this, but like, for managing your time, decision making, and the rest of it, query yourself on the complexity that you're bringing in and whether you can not or reduce. I might not be doing the most sensible of ideas here, really, and there may come a point where I'm mea culpa, learnt a lot, I'll go back to doing things another way, you know.
I mean, like the worst that would even worst case, like to say you decide to abandon this, which I don't think you're at the point yet, but like even if you'd have learned so much, like you'd be able to like use the existing framework so much better.
Yes, and there's other projects and things online that I could start looking at, submitting some code to, or maybe taking what I've got, and it might be useful to somebody else to sort of pick through some of the things that are in there. But we're not there yet, and I guess I'm just remaining pragmatic and as objective as I can, trying to at least.
Fantastic. Fingers crossed. Like I really want to see this go to the end. To some sort of like, here, this doesn't do everything that Swift UI does, but it does enough for this app and it's cool and awesome. Like I would really like to
Mm-hmm.
see that. It would be cool.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think if it gets there, fantastic. If not, there will be salvageable things. Like, if nothing else, I've now got a knowledge of how to wire skier up and actually access that. And there's a lot of value there in, like, and I guess I'm talking about my future escape hatch, right? Is that pulling that together and using its shader system for the core of what my video mixing app does and that sort of thing. It would not be a bad shout if I then wanted to go back to Swift UI and go to Compose on the other side. Like, there's a way of me wrapping that up to pull that all through there, and then maybe having a core that can be called on either platform that does all the video mixing bit of what I'm doing. So yeah, all is not lost.
All is not lost.
No. Anyways, we'll see where I'm at in a couple of weeks. Maybe I'll be full of the joys of success. You did say I had the dooms. Dude, How are things on telemetry deck? How are you doing? Is there anything you want to talk about today in that
It
regard?
was a bit gloomy for a while, but I'm actually right now in a good place again. So, as I told you last time we talked, I mean 2 weeks ago, is I want to have a snow leopard month. And it went
Mhm.
swimmingly. It went awesome. Like snow leopard month means I'm just fixing bugs. I'm not like rewriting huge things. I'm just like making things smoother and run better. For 2 weeks or so, this went perfectly. And then while I was fixing some bug, like I'm noticing some slightly off behavior. I'm noticing, wait, why is no data coming in here? Why is this thing like showing data that's 20 minutes old? Like this is too old. Like why is this thing showing data that's like 4 hours old? This should at worst update every hour. Maybe I'll investigate. And yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I've been doing the last 2 weeks, which is basically so. How deep do we want to go? I don't know yet, but I've been in serverland, which is kind of not where I wanted to be, but I'm actually having a lot of fun. So, um, I think I don't want to go too deep into it because I think it would be kind of boring to listen to. The basics is of like how data is getting into telemetry deck is it's it gets everything gets pushed into what is called a message queue, and
Mhm.
then the time series database kind of picks it off the message queue and then puts it into a what is called a what I call a namespace, which is kind of like the individual sub database per customer. But the thing is like every like currently the my message queue is being hosted by Amazon AWS, and it costs
Mhm.
per like it costs a lot of like for like you pay for bandwidth basically. And so what I
Yep.
do is I
Ingress and
kind of can
egress, right?
only yes. So because the rest of my infrastructure is already off AWS, I kind of only want to consume this message queue once. Like I want to only want to read the data once, but I have like thousands of customers that have their individual namespaces. So how does the data with reading only once, how does it get into the individual namespaces? And so how I like my interim stopgap solution to this a few months ago was that I would like put everything into the database and then once an hour run a little task for each of the namespaces that would like copy the relevant data, copy that over into their own namespace. So basically, like we have like one thing that gets updated in real time, but and then all the thousands of other databases just like copy the like search through that data, copy the events that are kind of apply to them and copy them into their own namespace. And this worked until 2 weeks ago because like the server cluster that I have can do about 1500 namespaces in 1 hour.
Right.
And we kind of went past that hour,
Yeah.
past that number. And so now it experienced what we in the business call back pressure, which is like, oh yeah, there's like too much work being like there's too much work coming in. So things are
Yep.
too slow being worked off. And like so it kind of builds up and builds up this huge log of tasks. So this
Right.
was like first thing I did was I just like put like 4 more servers into the cluster, but even that
Yep.
was not really enough. And basically what I did is like I did two things. The one thing is I made the executive decision that free accounts will only get updated data once a day, which is kind of annoying, like really annoying if you want to like develop an app and we'll only see we'll only see like the data especially when you're testing like what do I need for analytics. Your data only updates once a day, but it saves me a lot of trouble right now with this interim copying solution. And
Yep.
also I actually convinced like a significant number of free customers to upgrade to a paid plan, which I don't really mind. I still think our
No,
prices are very reasonable. So yeah,
absolutely.
the paid customers get the 1 hour like the update every hour. But what I also want to do is like I want to get back to real time, so I kind of went further than that. And since I was already spinning up servers, I spun up even more servers, and I'm now hosting my own message queue,
Okay.
which I can of course read as often as I like, because the only thing that like because it's in the same data center as The rest of the servers, like
Yeah,
the
there's no
bandwidth, like I don't
inbound,
pay for
outbound. It's
bandwidth.
there. Yeah.
And so like this is no customer is using this yet, because as with like infrastructure on this scale, like you want to run it for a week or two just to get out the most horrible of the gremlins. And it has fallen over twice already, and then I found out why, and then I fixed the thing. But like I'm trying to do it properly. But what is happening is I'm copying the data I'm copying the data over from the AWS stream once, and then I have like 10-ish namespaces that are just my own, like reading the data. And this thing is bored right now. Like this cluster of Kafka servers is like yawning at me. So I was like, hey, I have, like, while I'm waiting for this to fall over, which it kind of doesn't, let's research some more techniques, what you can do. Because like with this kind of server, if you have the server itself, you can also add stream processing code, which is you write a little Python script, and that just defines a function that says like, okay, get the data from here with each individual bit of data, do this, and then write it there. So I have written another script that will basically just split up the data by namespace already. So like it will take the huge stream with everything and create separate streams that only contain the data for one specific namespace. And so now, with that in place, like I'm going to have to run that for a while, but with that in place, that gives me a lot of puzzle pieces to give people the real-time data that they need. There's like
okay. I see how this all comes together.
Right. And also because I have, and the also like in like this type of real-time ingestion is less taxing on the servers, I hope. So I will be able to have to use the existing servers for more customers, at least for the paid ones. So I'm hoping to give like a lot of paid customers real time. The thing that is missing is, of course, I need to run this for a little while and see like, are all the log files configured correctly, or will one of the servers fall over because just like its hard drive is running full of logs? The other day, some Java virtual machine said like, oh, I don't have enough RAM. I don't have enough RAM. Stuff like that. And the other thing is, currently in the telemetric SDK, the namespace entry is optional. And I can only do the routing that I just told you if people actually enter their namespace there. So that's the other thing. I kind of need.
Maybe you should give them an automatic namespace if it's not there.
No, but the thing is, like, an event is coming in, and the event says, "Hi, I belong to app 1, 2, 3, 4, 5." That doesn't help me with the routing, like, because a namespace is like 5 apps or multiple apps that belong to an organization. So I know the app, but I don't know the organization, and I don't like. So I have two options. I can kind of force people to tell me the namespace, and this would be the easiest thing for me. Or I can do a costly lookup, costly because either I have to wait for a database every time, which is like too much, or I have to like cache this somehow, and then it's kind of not updating, and the first few events that come in for a given app will just be lost. And so that's also not fun.
I'm just trying to think it through, because if I have 5 apps and I have no namespace, is the problem here like a customer could have multiple namespaces and multiple
No, it's just like this piece of code that needs to route the things. It doesn't have access to the information to that it needs. So
yeah, so you need a lookup for it. Yeah.
So,
but then should you be trusting the client for the namespace though?
Yeah, totally. Otherwise, because like if they give me the wrong thing, like their data will just never arrive at the destination that they want it to be. It will also not arrive, like it will at a later point, like wrong data will be filtered out. Like, so like it won't, like you won't be able to poison someone else's well with this.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
It will just like be garbage data that gets like thrown away at the end. So you can't really do bad things with it. But so yeah, like if I have a lookup somewhere, I need to like manage that, and I really don't feel like it. So I think the idea is to make like the namespace fields required in an upcoming SDK update. But that will take a year or so to really go through most of the customers, because like people will, like the long tail of people who don't update their
No, I've got it. I'm just trying to, I guess I'm trying to bite shit the problem a little bit, but like.
Right. But
Yeah.
what I can do in the meantime is like I can do it the hard way, which is I can just like have just like don't look at the I can just like build up these individual data streams per customer, but don't use them yet. But instead, like just like suck on the suck on the fire hose, and like for each namespace, just like pull all the data. And at that point, I know what my app IDs are, so it's just like, I can just like filter those out.
Yeah.
Means like incurring a bit more bandwidth, but that is internal bandwidth, and I'm fine with that. I'm always thinking
I'm
like
wondering,
when I'm in serverland anyway, I'm just like trying to build the future.
is there a point here where you could maybe build the future, and then when stuff comes through without the namespace, it just doesn't go through that route. It goes through an older route or something that you're going to deprecate eventually. And then, having a namespace becomes a requirement of having real time stats. That's where it becomes a,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's probably the way to go. Basically, like having a namespace is already required. Like by now,
yeah,
all customers who actually use telemetry deck have switched to a namespace.
yeah,
And the stragglers, I will just assign them one because they're mostly dead accounts anyway.
yeah.
So that part of the migration is complete. And then the next part of the migration is just like to ask people to actually tell me the namespace at
To
this
configure it
point.
on the client.
But then, like, like maybe I can do a lookup table. Like, because I can do these stream processors like at multiple points, maybe I can just do some kind
Yeah.
of cached lookup table that will update every minute or so, which wouldn't be too.
But this is the thing, right,
And
that
then
I'm
I
thinking
wouldn't have
about
to
is
force
like,
people. I wouldn't have to force people to redeploy everything.
no, but what you could do is if you're switching the routes, right? So like you want proper real time
Hmm.
stats, and your clients are not sending that namespace, right? Well, if they're sending the namespace, your stats are coming through great. If they're not, then they go through a slower route. You can then surface that in the UI and say, hey, do you know what? Real time's not working as well as it could do for you because actually this is something on one of your clients is not configured. You can do that way, and then that
Hmm.
encourages the behavior you want as well.
It does encourage it.
Yeah.
How would you like? The problem is like
Like,
I don't wanna.
performance degraded, as it were.
Right.
It's like a client health check at that point. You've got clients in the wild misreporting stats.
Right.
Like, yeah, I don't know. There might be a route there. I'm trying to think of the edges around this, and some of that is that they may not be able to control their clients that are out there
Right.
with
That's the
older
thing. Like you
versions.
can't really force everyone to upgrade, which
Yeah,
is a thing.
yeah. But that will tail off in a sense of that's people running older versions of their apps. So there might be a middle ground there. Like because it doesn't need to be something that nags them all the time. It could just be a by the way, some of your stats are coming through slower than you may like.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, something like that. I've been spending a lot of time in big data land,
Hmm.
even though I really wanted to improve user interfaces and stuff like that. I have like at least I'm gaining a lot of performance, like because like of course I also like stumbled upon various like other parts where like every time you research one of these things, you learn another thing about the software stack you're using. So I'm like, oh, I can do this, and this will give me another 5% of performance here, which they will then be helpful for the customers because they will have to
It
wait
all
less
adds
for the
up.
data and stuff like that. So yeah, at
Yeah.
some point, like really, really want to have a server wrangler that is not me to do these things. But yeah, I'm still working on actually, let's say, like earning enough money to pay someone for that, so that
On
I
its
can
way.
work more on the application side. All right.
Well,
That is, I've been to Serverland.
you have been to Serverland, absolutely. But it's always lovely to hear. And I'm kind of, like I say, the problems that you encounter, I still find interesting to try and bike shed. Even if I don't know what I'm talking about, I will give it a good try to think about
Yes,
how it
I
might work.
the only problem I have with these, and I know that we're wrapping up soon, like but
Hmm.
like so the only problem really that I have is I love working on these projects. Like this is super interesting. Like this is my dream job basically. Like I get paid to do my own stuff with with huge amounts of data in like, and I'm the boss. Like, this is awesome. The only downside is the stress that comes when something's not working. Like, it
Yeah.
immediately affects like 5,000 people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
their
There's
and
something
their
balanced on that.
and their 30-40 million customers. So it's like like my blood pressure spikes. That is something I could do without, which is why I'm trying to move
Yeah. You
slow
need,
and fix things.
yes, rather than the opposite, which I don't think any of us need these days. So, no, I get that. But hey, may it all keep coming together, and may you be able to afford your server wrangler in the near to medium term future. But Daniel, do have to wrap up. So
Let's wrap it up.
let's take us out.
Fantastic. I do want to play us out, but I have to find the thing. Here we go. Thanks for listening. Please rate us on iTunes and YouTube. Send us emails at contact@waitingforreview.com. Also send us pictures of your sanity walk, which is very helpful, or equivalent activity. Join our Discord. The link is in the show notes. And Dave, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm going to leave that as an exercise to the listener today, Daniel. All of my socials are in the show notes. If you're listening on your favorite player or you're looking on YouTube, then go to the description in YouTube or the show notes in your player, and you'll be able to find me.
Fantastic.
Anyway, how about yourself, Daniel?
Yeah, I am Daniel at social.telemetry.com, or I'm living in the Kafka streams in real time. Mostly on
Nice.
telemetry.com though. All right, fantastic.
And also our show notes. I never leave you out.
That's very good. That's awesome. Cool. I will have to go. So have a fantastic day. Have a really nice
too,
work
Daniel.
day. I'm gonna go to play another round of Death Stranding, I think. And
Well, I'm going
watch
to
the servers in the meantime.
I'm going to attend to the cat that's been meowing outside my door for the
Aw.
last 5 minutes that I've been ignoring.
Fantastic. Give them a scratch from me.
I'll do. All right. Well, take care, Daniel.
Bye.
Bye-bye.